Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 8th round of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. And we are north of the border. Alex Goldschmidt and Phil Kinch here with you this evening. Good evening, Phil. How are you, buddy? You all right?
Good evening, sir. I'm not too bad. How's yourself?
Pretty busy. I've just come off another stream, but hey-ho, it's on and away we go because we are very, very shortly getting underway with our first of 3 races here at Knockhill. 1.27 miles, 2.04 kilometres. And we have a 24-strong grid. The formation lap currently underway. Let's run you through the grid for the first of 3 races here in Scotland this evening. As it looks like one of the E-Team Brit cars has decided to pull to one side on the formation lap. So it looks like Toby Davis has, I think, put it on pole position this time around. I'm just going to have a quick check of the grid. So let's hear. So Toby Davis in the 34 will have the R&Co Motorsport 888 of Ross McGregor, who made his debut last time out. Dan Kell and Scott Mitchell round out the top 4 positions ahead of Mike Bell, Chris Butcher, Scott Sovic. Matt Webb now switches to Team simplyrace.co.uk. He rounds out the top 8 positions. Completing the top 10, it is Jack Nichols from Kings Racing and Toby Davis's new teammate, Mike Cooper, in the 44. We also welcome Karan Chandok to the series in the Kings Dealer Racing 59 car, and he will have alongside him Sylvain Vessier, who switched to the BMW this time around in 12th position, ahead of Ben Willis, Daniel Slattery, Aidan Millward. Then we've also got Jean-Michel Loriot, Graham Slattery, Ed Straw, Chaz Draycott makes his long-awaited debut ahead of Max Spooner, Sandro Ballesteros, Bradley Brockies and Matt Richards. 23 drivers set to get underway here for the first of 3 races. 24 laps around here at Knockhill, and it is a very, very interesting circuit indeed. A lot of undulation. So let's see what happens. We're about to get things underway. A bit of a tartan tribute. The Fraser tartan on the car of Davis as we go. Lights out, off and away. Heading down towards, it looks to be Duffer's Dip for the first time. McGregor looks to have got the lead ahead of Davis going into the first couple of corners. As down the hill they come, McGregor and Davis completely sideways through into McIntyre's as they make their way towards the far part of the circuit. But Ross McGregor, well, he is based in Scotland, of course. There's been a bit of a clattering in a little bit further down the order. Max Spooner out of the picture on the right-hand side of the circuit as they literally go skywards over, I think that's through the Black Circle chicane just after Butchers. The car's absolutely doing 4 wheels in the air, a bit like the Flugplatz at the Nordschleifers. Oh, Graham Slattery goes completely 100 and, well, he goes nearly left rear wheel on the MG. That's an instant DNF. So the uprights and the suspension and the left rear wheel, that puts the yellow out in sector number 1 as Ross McGregor now has a lead ahead of Toby Davis. Now, Toby kindly said to me before, it's a special tribute livery. Notice the tartan on the roof of the car. It's the Fraser tartan because his grandmother, who unfortunately passed away back in 2015, he ran a similar sort of livery back that year when he was racing in British supercarts, and it now adorns the top of that Astra. It's a welcome tribute, and big thank you for Toby for doing that. But now Ross McGregor has already scarpered away into the distance. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Davis. Kell rounds out the top 3. Chris Butcher, who came in to this round with 7 points advantage over Dan Kell, who rounds out the top 3. Coming across the line to complete lap number 3, you then got Mike Bell, Scott Sovic, Mike Cooper, Scott Mitchell. Ross McGregor now puts in the fastest lap of he puts in a 49.940. Mike Bell puts in a lap time that was exactly 98 thousandths quicker, a 49.392. Then it's Mitchell, Nichols, Vessier just ahead of Karan Chandok, who rounds out the top 11 positions. Ben Willis, Daniel Slattery, Aidan Millward and Chaz Draycott round out the top 15 positions as we've got a yellow in sector number 2. But already, Phil, I know that we haven't really had much of our usual dynamic banter because we've gone straight to the racing, but it's been epic so far, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's brilliant racing, as you'd expect from Knockhill. Everyone going hell for leather already, and it actually looks like Toby Davis is taking the fight back to Ross McGregor. Pretty sure, because I saw somebody rolling in sector 2 coming out of the chicane as we saw the cars come around to complete the lap. But yeah, Toby Davis now sets the fastest lap of 49.049. These guys are heading for the 48s at least, as we see.
Oh, here comes Chris Butcher up the inside.
On Dan Kell, and Mike Bell with him as well.
Yep, as Mike Bell goes Knight Rider ski mode style down through the dips here, as now Scott Mitchell is closing on them as it's nearly 3 abreast. Is that Nick? That is absolutely brilliant action. And this is where it's getting a bit more up close and personal, because in the middle of that is Mike Cooper, the new teammate. It's the line astern between Mitchell and Nichols. Mitchell just ahead as they go firing their way up the inside.
Toby Davis and Ross McGregor made contact. Come out the hairpin, it looks like.
Matt Webb has got a penalty. We've had 3 DNFs. Sylvain Vessier out. Graham Slattery out. Ed Straw from King's Dealer Racing. In the number 17, he is out. So Karun Chandok at the moment is rounding out the top 10. Let's have a look at the replay here. Now there was a bit of a clap. Now that was a
yeah, I think that explains Slattery and
that
Straw,
explains
doesn't it?
Straw, yeah, Slattery. Then also that probably might be Jean-Michel Loriot that was involved in that, because that's really, really difficult in many respects. So he's the only Cadan Casual Apex driver in this. But now, up the inside, that's Scott Sovic. No, that's Mike Bell.
Mike Bell. Mike Bell going for Dan Kell.
Yeah, as now, Scott Mitchell trying to battle away. It's the battle of the Scots between him and Scott Sovic from Smile Power Racing. That's the battle over 6th position, as Chance Draycott gets past Daniel Slattery for position, as does Jean-Michel Loriot, as they go flying their way through the far part of the circuit. We're on to lap number 7 out of 24, and McGregor isn't getting away from Toby Davis. Toby Davis has actually got a lead, as Aidan Millward now gets a penalty too. So
2 wheels high from Chris Butcher, loving it, absolutely loving it out of Clark curve. Completely caught the curve and 2 wheels up on the right hand side. Brilliant stuff.
He definitely sent that Astra skywards a little bit on one side of the vehicle, didn't he? But Loriot now serving his penalty, dropping him down to 19th and last as the field makes its way through. So Andrew Vandenberg says, where's Ed Straw? Unfortunately, Andrew, he has retired. He was one of the cars involved in the first lap skirmish. So Ed Straw will be back in race, as here's Max Spooner going completely sideways in the number 63 E-Team Brit car. So, and then starts to pirouette as a direct result. So It's not been an easy evening for the E-Team Brit boys, and E-Team Brit 2 as well, because Sylvain Vessier made the move into the BMW, having changed from the Subaru Levorg. Obviously, there's no SRR Motorsport in this field now, as Loriot looks to have picked up another penalty. Now, is that for track limits? Is my biggest bone of contention here. Is now we've got Scott Mitchell and Jack Nichols line astern of each other, going down into Duffers Dip, then through down the hill into McIntyre, through into the right at Butchers. Obviously, between Duffers Dip and McIntyre is Leslie's, obviously named after the late David Leslie, a stalwart within British Touring Car Championship history. Is I can't believe that's happening. They're going through the Black Circle chicane, absolutely planted, 4 wheels in the air, and they're still, I mean, I have to be completely honest here, as Loriot again serves his second penalty of the race on what is effectively lap number 9. But I've got to be really impressed by a couple of particular drivers. I mean, first of all, Toby Davis has now got a lead of 0.6 of a second. Now, we've normally seen him fighting in the front of the field. He hasn't had the best amount of luck, if I'm completely honest. But then you look at his new teammate, Mike Cooper. He is keeping pace with the 2 Mercedes from King's Racing, and that is Scott Mitchell ahead of Jack Nichols. Karun Chandok in the number 55. Now, this is Karun's debut in the series, and he is running in P10. But let's not forget that he has raced quite a lot competitively in the UK, so he will know a lot of the circuits that we're racing at, including here at Knockhill.
Indeed, he's definitely got some experience with the UK circuits. I'm also happy to point out as well, loving the retro Williams livery that Karun is running this evening. That's completely sold me. He's got a fan. It looks as though one of the E-Team Brit cars has pulled off to the side just there. In the meantime,
right. Well, we've we've had a couple of DNFs in the meantime, Matt Webb and Aidan Millward. Now this is
It's
Mike Bell and Dan, Mike Bell and Dan Kell going literally all four wheels up in the air. Scott Sovic is with them. Nichols goes four wheels skywards. But yeah, I completely agree with the 1990s Williams Renault partnership. That's exactly what it reminds me of, with the Canon livery on it as well. So Jack Nichols keeping in close proximity with teammate Scott Mitchell, as they have got Sovic, Kell, Bell just up ahead now. This, and they've also got Chris Butcher. Now look at it from this perspective here, Phil, that you can just see that this gaggle of cars are not really relenting. We're nearly approaching halfway through this race so far, and they're all keeping it pinned. It's been a lot cleaner than what we've seen in previous races when it gets to the sharp end of the field, and a lot of drivers are really making sure that they keep themselves in contention for maybe a top three, maybe even
Scott Mitchell's going for the inside just as you say that, and looks as though he's got past Scott Sovic for 6th position. So yeah, you cursed it now, haven't you? Here comes Jack Nichols as well.
I cursed it.
You cursed it. You said they were playing nice and playing tidy. This is it now. It's kicking off.
No, but the thing is, but not to the point where people have actually been sort of running. As again, that's the 3rd successive penalty for Jean-Michel Loriot. So that's not been the great run of luck for the number 88 Can-Am Casual Apex MG in 18th position. So yeah, I think it's going to get a bit more fisticuff like. I think probably towards the end of the race, as there was now that was a little bit of a lag spike. I think I might have detected there from Scott Sovic, possibly. With Jack Nichols just up behind him, and then Mike Cooper is not letting him get away as we go on board. Oh, now this is getting very, very close indeed, and that is Mike Bell up the inside of Dan Kell to now take 4th position. So again, the numbers game between Sancho Simsport and Smart Power Racing, because there are only 2 of the Sancho Simsport, the actual regular cars that we see. I mean, Lewis McGlade not showing this time around, but Dan Kell, Matt Richards now up into 10th position. He's having a ding-dong battle with Kurun Chandok, as is Ben Willis. Oh, bit of a turnaround for Ben Willis there. Oh, I think Kurun might have just been a little bit overzealous, not too sure. Bit too much as, we've got a roll. We've got...
Looks like
that is Daniel Slattery. Yeah, Daniel Slattery, who went pirouetting and nearly went rolling there. Wow. We've seen a few rolls in our time, but that one, God, that was skywards. And I thought, how many rotations are we going to get on that one? Mike Bell goes on the defensive as everyone behind is trying to catch up. So at the minute, Davis leads by over around 0.8 of a second from Ross McGregor. Butcher in 3rd. Mike Bell hanging on for 4th place ahead of Dan Kell, but Scott Mitchell has quite literally been the one that is the sort of the dark horse. You can't count out Jack Nichols on that either. But here is what happened. Now this is Loriot. So Ben Willis comes back on. Loriot sends it, and
he's called it wrong. He's called it wrong with 2 wheels, and that sent him over and into the barriers.
Did you happen to notice that he was actually turning in to try and catch it? As Chaz Draycott gets it looks like we've got a 3rd commentator unannounced here in the commentary box. Chaz Draycott now gets a penalty. He was currently in effectively 13th position. That's going to drop him outside of the top 15. So we've got 10 laps to go. Mike Bell as that. Now that was a run wide there from Scott Sovic, and that could allow Jack Nichols to get the opportunity he needs to make up a position. And I think that has happened. And also Mike Cooper has got through too.
I say that as they get towards as we're over the halfway stage now, they are all starting to push each other, and it's not long before people are making moves. The slight touch here and there, as we've seen, as Chaz Draycott comes out the pit having served his penalty. It's just showing exactly what we expect from Knockhill. Tight, close racing. Dan Kell has not given up on Mike Bell, and as well as that, we can also see that Scott Mitchell is also closing down on Dan Kell as well. So it's great to see the Kings Racing Mercedes near the front again after their fantastic performance last time out at Croft, when they really went for it and were able to fight for the wins. So good to see they're running in the top 5 and pushing the established teams hard.
Well, it's quite funny when you look towards the bottom part of the top 10. That, oh, now was there a little bit of a touch there between Kell and Bell there, as that is allowing Scott Mitchell to get truly into the thick of things. He gets the switchback attempt on Kell that time, can't get through, but Kevin Chandok and Matt Richards are squabbling like a pair of petulant children over the last position in the top 10. So Chandok impressing as up the inside of Dan Kell goes Scott Mitchell. Has he got the position done yet? As there goes Karun Chandok in the number 59 Mercedes A45. And I love that, how they just put Karun on the bottom part of it. That is, you're right. That has completely sold me on that livery.
I knew you'd like that. That's a great touch.
Well, made our evening. Well, actually, have you noticed the further thing? On where it's got Kings, you see the crown. It's like the red 5 on Nigel Mansell's title-winning car in 1992.
Exactly.
So I doff my cap to Karan Chandok right now for having that livery on his Mercedes. But Dan Kell still holding on. I'm going to be.
He was slightly wide coming out of Clark, so that's what's allowed Mitchell to close up on him and. Sorry, Nichols to come up. Nichols, no, it's Mitchell. So I'm confusing the Mercedes already. And he's passed Dan Kell through the hairpin. Although it looks as though Kell is going to try and come back on the defence and bring in Jack Nichols with him. So as you say, this group of cars isn't done just yet.
No, I think Jean-Michel Loriot, I think, has had more penalties than he would care to want for at the moment, because there's another one that's been sent to the 88s. The 88 MG again, so Loriot has definitely had the most penalties, I think, awarded in one race, as Nichols went absolutely skyward, but he's managed to send it from nowhere, barges door panels with the right-hand side of Dan Kell, so both Kings Racing cars up into the top 6. Dan Kell demoted to 7th, and here comes Mike Cooper. I think he's got the run on the Focus through this next corner. He makes the opportunity. He's got through Taylor's. Nicely done by the 34. From Davis Racing, now up into 7th position. So Dan Kell, if he's very much not careful, I think Scott Sovic could try and put one past the Focus.
It is definitely the case. Kell, I think, he's on a bit of a losing battle here, although he's coming back at Cooper as they come through Leslie's and into McIntyre's. Deep on the inside, great move. He's thrown it down the inside and just about managed to hold on and kept the line to make sure that he holds Cooper off. But I'm loving the way these guys are flying through the chicanes. The chicane this evening, proper commitment, 4 wheels. I'm going with the hashtag this evening, hashtag 2 wheels high. I'm seeing 4 wheels high. I'm sold. That's it. We're coming back here next time. But as you can see, Cooper is pushing Kell to see if he can try and get that position back. And Sovic is looking to be into the mix. Cooper takes the early line in, goes deep, but Kell's able to defend as he manages to hold on to his 7th position. Whilst further back, it looks as though Matt Richards has managed to drop Karun Chandok a little bit now and get himself some space. As we're saying, Dan Kell, the numbers game this evening, we're down 1 Focus, and it is a case of seeing not only Smile Power Racing up front, but also Kings Racing, and it's great to see 2 Davis Racing Astras up the front fighting for positions as well. We've seen Toby all season doing well and showing that he's capable of race wins, but we're also seeing a great job here from Mike Cooper, as again he goes deep into Clark's to see if he can try and get the run out, slightly wide off the curb, and he's pushing Kell all the way for that vital 7th position.
Yeah, as Cooper now trying to go up the inside once again through into Taylor's. I think he's got the move done. Nice one. John Monroe shouts out to Ross McGregor for the home win. Well, he's got to try and get past Toby Davis, but in about 9/10 of a second as now Cooper gets the switchback done on him by Kell as they go into Duffersdip, through into Leslie's, through into McIntyre. Oh,
wow, that was a camera view and a half.
That was a short cut and a half there by Mike Cooper, but he did exactly the right thing. He lifted off. He let Scott Sovic go past. He would have gained a distinct advantage through doing that. So the drivers are having to be on their best behaviour. But here is the 888 of Ross McGregor, just not that far away, around about 9/10 adrift off of Toby Davis, who here at Knockhill could possibly pick up his first win of the season. It's been a long time coming after Croft saw him have, his best score was actually in race number 3. He took 13 points. And he got single-digit scores in races 1 and 2, but then obviously races before that, Snetterton, he didn't have the best run of luck, but he's got a couple of more laps to go. Is Jack Nicholls and teammate Scott Mitchell, 6th and 5th respectively. Don't forget to use the hashtags TCUK and hashtag VMO on Twitter and also on the relevant other social media platforms. But yellow in sector 1. Now that could be for something a bit further down the order. Mike Cooper now gets a penalty. So he will have to serve a pit lane penalty, possibly for track limits. So Cooper rounding out the top 9 positions. This is going to promote Matt Richards up to 9th, and then Karun Chandok back up into the top 10 as Jack Nicholls fancies an opportunity of trying to get past his teammate. Well, what's the one biggest rule in racing? Never take out your teammate. And I must be completely honest here, Phil. The 22 and the 29 of Mitchell and Nicholls, respectively, have kept it rather clean through this race. But Stuart Richards says, never have I seen such commitment through the chicane. We've got 2 more 24-lap races after this one, Stuart.
Oh, yes,
so
definitely.
You're going to enjoy that, my friend. Yeah. So yellow in sector 1 once again. So still 18 cars circulating, and Mike Cooper, well, we're going to go on to what is effectively the final. Well, we have gone on to the final lap, and Ross McGregor is closing on Toby Davis in the dying throes. Yellow in sector 1. Now I'm wondering who that might have been for, but the gap between Davis and McGregor just under half a second. Butcher from Smile Power Racing, the championship leader coming into this round, still rounds out the top 3. There's Nicholls, still completing the top 6. He looks like he's lost a bit of momentum coming through the chicane after Butcher's. Gets a bit more of a run of momentum, but we're coming to the final throws this time around. Finally, the checkered flag is going to wave, and we wait until it gets crossed, the finish line that is. So Toby Davis, with his special livery, takes the Race 1 victory here at Knockhill at Round 8 of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. Ahead of Ross McGregor, Chris Butcher rounds out the top 3. Mike Bell makes it 2 Smile Power Racing cars in the top 4, with Scott Mitchell finishing ahead of King's Racing teammate Jack Nicholls to finish 5th and 6th respectively. Dan Kell will round out the top 7 ahead of Scott Sobick. Matt Richards and Karun Chandok on debut gets a top 10 finish here. So Chandok already with points on the board after some great battling with quite a few drivers, most notably with Matt Richards throughout the majority of that race. Ben Willis takes 11th ahead of Daniel Slattery. Sandro Ballesteros picks up more points for E-Team Brit as Chaz Draycott takes 2 points on debut here this evening. And also Max Spooner makes it another E-Team Brit driver that scores points. Bradley Brockies would finish behind Mike Cooper, who would have to take his penalty for track infringements there. But Toby Davis, our Race 1 victor here at Knockhill. About time for the number 34 from Davis Racing, wouldn't you say there, Phil?
Oh, yes, definitely. He's shown enough times. Just saying there that, just noticing as we're counting through, it looks as though Mike Cooper's been dropped down to 15th position after penalty applied. So Karun Chandok actually gets a top 10 finish in his first race for King's Dealer Racing. Put the teeth in gear already. But it's great to see Toby. Like I said, we've seen many races, especially at Alton Park as well. He was well in the mix before contact took him out, and he was looking quite racy and being involved for the victory back there, and obviously again at Croft as well. So a brilliant achievement for Toby, and also considering that he's got the special livery on for this evening's event as well, just adds all to the special moment that he's finally got that win in the series.
Yeah, well, it is one thing to win race 1 in the evening here at the Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. We've got 2 24-lap races here. And if I'm completely honest, Phil, we've seen it before. We've seen it at Croft. We've seen it at Snetterton. We've seen it at Alton Park. We've seen it pretty much, since I joined the season for Donington Park at the season opener, and then I think you joined me the round after for round 2 onwards. And we have seen that the first one seems to be pretty tame. The second one, The door panels get edged out a little bit as the elbows come out, and then race 3, it's all for themselves, isn't it?
Well, race 3 is normally where the door panels, wings, front of the car, engine, wing mirrors, I think I've just about count for everything, just seems to go missing in general. But no, race 2, as I say, it gets interesting now. Success ballast applied. So now it's a case of seeing what the guys can do with the extra weight on board, seeing how they can cope with that challenge. Also, there is the change of tyres as well, the choice of tyres. So the medium tyre being used as the option tyre for this evening as well. And already, as I say, I was expecting 2 wheels high. Having seen 4 wheels high as they're going through the chicane, I'm really looking forward for these next 2 races. It might be 24-lap races, but race laps that they're doing at just under 49 seconds. I'm almost tempted to say, and breathe, while we've got the opportunity, because I think we're in for 2 more humdingers of races this evening. I think we're really, really going to see some good close racing. And as we also noticed as well, we're at round 8. There's only 2 more rounds after this. So, you know, we start looking at the title side of things, the championship fight, the numbers game between the big teams, Smile Power Racing, Zancho Sim Sport, Kings Racing getting involved as well. So there's so much to sort of factor in and see. And on top of that, just watching these guys race, it's brilliant.
Well, considering every race is covering just over 25.2 miles, so we'll be covering nearly 76 miles of the 1.27 mile circuit here at Knockhill. And, you know, touring cars isn't touring cars without going north of the border to Scotland. And Knockhill is steeped in tradition, having been opened originally back in 1974, back in September, actually. The first ever British Touring Car Championship race here was held in 1992. The qualifying lap record is currently held by one of Scotland's very own, Rory Butcher, from 2019. An average speed of 90.4 miles an hour with a lap time of 50.451. The race lap record, however, got broken this year thanks to Laser Tools Racing's one of the Infinity Q50 pairings. 2017 British Touring Car Champion Ash Sutton, who at an average speed of 89.65 miles an hour, put in a 50.876 second lap time. But with the drivers literally going full guns blazing, as Andrew Van der Berg says, well done, Scott and Jack, maximum attack. Let's see if they can keep that up through race number 2. But you know, Knockhill it's the home of the Scottish Motor Racing Club as well. So I have to give a shout out to a few people there, including one good friend, a fellow friend of ours, David Christie from Canberra Media. Is not too far from that track. Ross McGregor isn't too far from this track. Good old John Monroe, who's been commenting on our YouTube feeds a bit earlier on. He's local to this track as well. He's based out of Glasgow. But Phil, just the sort of like the close fought quarter combat that we had here this evening is just a sign of things to come. We're not going to keep on talking about door panel bashing because it normally happens in touring cars. That's been talked about to death, but it's been very, very close. And just seeing the commitment going through this circuit has just been absolutely astounding, hasn't it?
It is. I'll be honest, I'm on the verge of breathtaking. The first couple of laps as you were covering everything, and I'm thinking, I'm going to try and get a breath in, and even I'm holding my breath as they're going through the chicane and coming out of on the run to Clark's. And even, I'll be honest, all kudos to the camera view coming out of Duffer's Dip through Leslie's, because we are going to see those road markers flying, I presume, unless they are absolutely stuck in the ground. I'm expecting to see them fly, especially I think it was Mike Cooper coming flying through Leslie's at full pelt, taking the shortcut earlier in race 1. Absolutely loving all of this so far. I'm not going to say it's my favourite race so far, but Knockhill has definitely got me on my toes and I'm enjoying it. Also a special mention about Knockhill today. So obviously you were saying first British Touring Car race took place here in 1992. So to connect that, a certain former World Rally champion, very close to our hearts in the motorsport world, Colin McRae, who raced in the first ever British Touring Car Championship event at Knockhill for the Pro Drive BMW team, made his mark in the wets, and I think he left a bit of a mark, if my homework reminds me, with Matt Neal in race 2 that year. And obviously, unfortunately, it's 13 years ago today that we lost Colin to the motorsport world. So our respects go out to the McRae family, and also, like I say, his name, although he is synonymous with rallying, he's had a go at Rallycross and also X Games later in his career as well. Touring car fans, don't ever forget his debut here when he was able to show what he could do in a BMW. Although he was solely focused on rallying, he was able to do pretty well on his debut.
So let's head to a quick video. Myself and Phil will be in just a moment.
To allow us to be able to compete on a level playing field, we've had to use existing technology to create a set of hand controls that allow us to race on a level playing field. So if you imagine you're going to chicane at 150 miles an hour, our disabled drivers have to be able to go through the chicane at the same speed as an able-bodied driver. That means braking, steering, gear down, on the throttle, off the throttle, on the brake. Now, if we keep losing half a second or a few tenths of a second at every chicane, we might be the best driver on the track, but we can't be competitive. So that was the criteria that I gave the engineers, that if we can't do that, then we can't go racing. Al Locke he's the brains behind our team. He's our race engineer. I tell him what I want and how I want it. He says it's not possible, and I know it's possible because I believe in Al. The cost of the hand controls varies from about £5,000 to about £7,500. That's because we've managed to find a manufacturer in Slovenia that does all this specialist engineering. None of this would be possible without our British engineering.
The main thing that inspires me to keep going with Team Brit is the quest for constant improvement. You know, we've developed a set of hand controls, and we're not a team that's going to rest on their laurels. We're constantly pushing for better and faster developments.
Well, as the late Colin McRae would say, straight roads are for fast cars, turns are for fast drivers. Well, we've got a combination here tonight at Knockhill for round 8 of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. Phil, we have over 50.4 miles, well, probably over about 50.5 miles over the next 2 races here at Knockhill. And the first one was an absolute doozy. Really, really good to see Toby Davis hit the winner's rostrum, so to speak, this evening after so much up and down, toing and froing throughout the season. For him to finally get a win, and I know for a fact that he'll probably be giving a tribute to his grandmother as a result of that victory with the Fraser Tartan on the roof of the 34 Astra in fine style. He kept leading from start to checkered flag. And even though Ross McGregor got in front of him in the initial stages, he was still able to pounce back and keep the Triple Eight focus at bay.
It was good to see a change, actually, because normally we've seen Contact take David Davis out of some of the races he's been fighting for the lead for, or at least fighting for top 5 positions. So it was good to see him just stay calm, stay focused, you know, stay with McGregor, and when he had the chance to make the move and then build a gap against him, it was really good to see. And he's got to do it all again in race 2 as well. Although, to be honest, I think, to coin another McRae phrase, the way these guys are going, they are definitely, if in doubt, go flat out. They are flying this evening. We're not just getting the 4 wheels, we are getting the whole shebang in race 1 alone. So expecting much more in race 2, and obviously the weight to play its part, the option tyre to play its part as well. So all of these challenges to keep them on their toes, which they're all used to by now. As we said earlier, we're into round 8 now, so you know the game is on, per se. They are really seriously getting into the serious end of the series, and what I'm really liking is, you know, we're going to have another 2 races just like that one. And I was trying to hold my breath as well as talk. It's just not possible.
You learn on the job, so to speak. There we go.
Yeah.
But quite a few drivers. Well, Max Spooner was on the option tyre. So was Ed Straw. Karan Chandok has got the option tyre out of the way, as has Chaz Draker. Dan Kell also had that as well. So we're going to see the likes of Matt Richards, Mike Bell, Sandro Ballesteros, Daniel and Graham Slattery. Jack Nichols and Scott Mitchell will go on the option tyres this time around. Phil Morby and Ben Willis. So we're going to see quite a few drivers, so 12 pretty much drivers going on the option tyre in this race here. But yeah, like you say, Toby Davis has got all the work to do again, and then we have a change round for race 3. So in many respects, Phil, you can't really count anything out of anything. So, you know, we just sort of have to see how things are going to proceed through the second race. But Luke Hinsel, he said, very much the spirits of McRae through that chicane. #Sendy. Well put there. Good evening, Dan Ashton on Facebook. Yes, I'm all good. Hope you're keeping well as well, buddy. Looks like we've got a checkered flag on the warm-up session ahead of the second 24-lap race here at Knockhill. So we're going to see, I think we're going to see a very a consistent race, I think. But we'll also see what the drivers will get up to as we head down to Duffus Dip for the first time through Leslie's and McIntyre. That's going to be an interesting proposition, wouldn't you say, Phil?
Definitely. Again, if you can make the move into Duffus, if you can commit to the inside without, it's such a tight corner as it is, 2x2 is normally a push as it is. If you can make the move through Duffus, hold the line through Leslie and be on the inside for McIntyre, and then defend that all the way through the chicane, normally you're on the winner. But these guys aren't afraid to go toe-to-toe, side by side, and try and retake back the position if the gap is there, and even if the tiniest gap is there. So, yeah, the start of race 2, the run down to Duffus is definitely going to be exciting.
Okay, they're about to get the formation lap underway for the second of 3 24-lap races here. Let's have a look at the grid here at Knockhill. Toby Davis and Ross McGregor again will be on the front row. Chris Butcher and Mike Bell will complete the top 2 rows, representing Smile Power Racing. Row 3, it's Scott Mitchell and Jack Nichols from Kings Racing in the 22 and the 29 Mercedes. Dan Kell and Scott Sovic in the 89 and the 55 round out the top 4 rows, with the number 4 of Matt Richards and the number 59 of Karan Chandok rounding out the top 10. Ben Willis in the 85 and Daniel Slattery in the 24 will round out row number 6 ahead of E-Team Brits Sandro Ballesteros, just 13 years of age, the youngest competitor on the grid. He starts 13th with Chaz Draycott in the R&Co Motorsport number 10 Ford Focus alongside in row 7. Max Spooner in the 63 E-Team Brit BMW will have the 44 Davis Racing Vauxhall Astra of Mike Cooper alongside, followed by Bradley Brockies in the 105, Jean-Michel Loriot in the 88, the 67 of Aidan Millward, Matt Webb in the 444, Sylvain Vessier in the 129 with E-Team Brit 2, Graham Slattery from Rage Racing with Ed Straw, and Phil Morby in the 17 and the 14, rounding out the 24 strong, as now the leaders get themselves towards the front row of the grid here at the 1.27 mile, 2.04 kilometre circuit here at Knockhill in Scotland. And again, this, what we saw last time, McGregor had the run on Davis in the start phase. And there you see the option tyres on Chris Butcher's car, one of 12 cars in this race. I think Ed Straw might be starting from the pit lane, unless he's had a technical issue. I'm not too sure. But that brings us to 23 cars starting on the grid. So hold on to your hats. We are off, and it's a very good start there by, Scott Mitchell has a bit of a bog down as Jack Nichols, I think, got a really good start. The green flag waves as they head down to Duffus Dip for the first time. Davis leading, McGregor in second. Butcher rounds out the top 3, followed by Bell, Kell, Sovic, Mitchell, Richards, Willis, and Chandok. So, we've had an instant DNF. There was a technical problem for Jack Nichols. Instant DNF. So I think that must have been a disconnect. So he is out of the race before we've even hit Duffus Dip. It's now the rest of the field trying to make their way through into what is effectively Clark and into the railway straight through Hislops and round into Taylor's as we come round to complete the first of 24 laps. So Davis and McGregor at each other's throats again. Yellow in sector 2. As now, there's contact between. Now that was Kellen Willis, and Shandok's managed to get through. And there is so Chandok has to go grass tracking, and that is I think that's not Graham Slattery, that's Daniel Slattery. Through the bollards goes Scott Mitchell with a full runner commitment through the chicane. Oh, mamma mia, in the words of Tom Coronel. That was absolute commitment there. As now they go skywards. You did say it was going to happen. I don't think I saw the bollards move there, Phil.
No. It was still a Mercedes.
That was definitely a 3-pointed start incursion into the camera. As you can now see what happens behind. Yeah, there's a touch between, and that was Dan Kell getting touched by Ben Willis, and then Kell has nowhere to go. Chandok trying to avoid and actually gets collected by Kell.
Yeah. But
he does get through. But at the moment, he's now behind Mike Cooper as Ross McGregor and Toby Davis set trade fastest laps. We'll make that Mike Bell that goes into that now with a it's Chris Butcher. Oh, that's a roll for Mitchell. For Mitchell. Oh, that is not good. We've had a DNF from Max Spooner. Now that is Scott Mitchell, who has literally DNF'd. That is. I thought I saw enough of that with Jack Nichols, and we've now just had that with his teammate here at Knockhill. He just literally went skywards, and that car is definitely entering the pits, and I don't think it's going to be coming out with that amount of damage to it.
Also looks like further back Matt Richards also had issues at the chicane as well. I can see him going completely on the inside on the grass and not taking it at all. Whether he's taking avoiding actually or not in the background, I'm not certain. But yes, definitely some more door handle to door handle panels being bashed and Mercedes going flying, unfortunately, as Toby Davis sets the fastest lap of the race again. So we can see what happens here. So Scott Mitchell, it's slight contact.
Oh, yeah, he made a slight bit of contact there, and that would have been with... Yeah, that possibly would have been with... Well, I think that might have been with Dan Kell or maybe Matt Richards there. It was one of the Sancho cars. So he's had a little bit of a touch, and that's just... I think it's just sent the trajectory off for Mitchell, and he's just gone into it full beans, and that's just sent him out of it. But I'm just seeing where he is at the moment. He's currently running in 16th place, so he's still circulating. Yellow in sector 2, 20 laps still to go. So Spooner and Nichols out. We're down to 22 cars, 20 laps to go. Gap between Davis and McGregor now 8 tenths. Now here is a replay, and that is from Lorio.
Again, repeating his race 1 antics through the chicane, trying to steer into it, and it's just not working.
Bang bang, he hits the wall.
Yep.
On a play on a song that you will probably hear in a Pulp Fiction movie. Is now Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino, but now McGregor going for it. He's going to look towards the inside through Taylor's. Oh, but Davis knew it was coming. McGregor swarming all over the back bumper of the especially tartan liveried 34 Astra of Toby Davis, but Davis still keeping it. But the biggest thing here is, Bill, Chris Butcher on option tyres is catching. He's just put in, well, the last couple of laps he's put in a 49.422. His last lap was 1/1000th slower. Matt Richards, in the meantime, sets the timesheets purple. 49.255 as sideways through the chicane in the air goes Ross McGregor and Toby Davis. As here's Karan Chandok fending off Dan Kell and Matt Richards. This is a battle for 9th position as Chandok runs wide and loses 2 places. Now, I'm not too sure how close Dan Kell was to the back bumper of Karan Chandok, so that could have actually sent the back end of the Mercedes probably a little bit sideways going through the chicane, and that would have put him as just behind. They've got... Now, there's Sylvain Vessier from E-Team Brit 2. This youngster, he races in Rotax karting here in the United Kingdom. He's recently joined the E-Team Brit drivers as a trial driver at the moment, and he's shown some really good purchases. Ross McGregor, look how hard he's fighting that steering wheel on that Ford Focus, just trying to keep up with Toby Davis as now they head towards the... this is just absolutely brilliant racing for the pair of them.
Absolutely loving it.
Jean-Michel Loriot, I don't think is having a good day. Another penalty. I think I counted about 6 or 7 last time out. He's got another one here in race 2. So here's a replay. Now this is Chandok with Kell and Richards just behind. Flame spitting from the exhaust of the Mercedes.
Love it.
Absolutely brilliant.
No, he's caught it Loriot style, unfortunately.
But at least the good thing was Karan Chandok was able to keep it pinned to the right-hand side. It's now Chris Butcher catching up with Ross McGregor and Toby Davis. So it's no longer a 2-driver scrap for the lead as Ross McGregor gets a little bit of snap-on oversteer going through the chicane there, and that allowed, and again sideways. I mean, look, you can just see all 3 cars are front-wheel drive, and Ross McGregor is driving that Ford Focus like he stole it.
He is absolutely doing a cracking job. Slightly down on weight against Toby Davis, with a small advantage there, as we can see Mike Cooper holding off Daniel Slattery and the 2 Sancho SimSport Focuses, who it looks as though are going to try and get Slattery. Yep, that's Kell and Richards getting past Slattery as they start to hunt down Cooper for 7th place. And just in front, amazingly, despite the amount of contact he suffered in the first couple of laps of the race, Ben Willis holding on to 6th position, our highest running rear-wheel drive runner in the Subaru. So doing a cracking job keeping up there despite the, I almost want to say carnage we suffered in the first couple of laps, but things seem to have slightly settled down. Something else that's being improved quite rightly here as well, though, the option tyre isn't falling off as much as it was back at Croft for everyone. We could see the cars front wheel drive or rear wheel drive losing the grip after about halfway distance. Chris Butcher is keeping on the back of Ross McGregor, who's really pushing Toby Davis now on those option tyres. So he's got that grip advantage and we'll be trying to use it whilst he's got it.
Yeah, so as now we've got Phil Morby, and that is Scott Mitchell just behind Aidan Millward as they come through Taylor's. Just behind them is Sylvain Vessier, who was running up as high as 12th position. But it looks like the 129 from the E-Team Brit 2 squad is, sideways again for Ross McGregor. He caught that. That was cat-like reflexes from the Scotsman to manage to keep that going through that corner. My godfathers, I'm sure that his heart rate went through the roof. And someone might have said, Ross, you need the defib. No, not yet. I'm just catching the car going through a corner sideways. All right, but that
He's
was
not
well
yet had a
caught,
Code
well
Brown
held.
moment, but definitely on keeping him on his toes as he comes through Clark's and catches the sausage curb on the inside. Although it's allowed Chris Butcher now to catch up to him and start pushing him for second place. So he's got a bit more to be content about instead of trying to run down Toby Davis. As one of the E-Team Brit BMWs off the left-hand side at McIntyre's. He didn't catch which one. But yeah, this is definitely now a game of who's got the best tyre wear still at this early stage of the race, and also who can gain the best advantage coming out the corners. It's all on as even with front-wheel drive cars between the three of them, but they're really pushing each other hard, and it's yo-yoing backwards and forwards, depending on what mistakes they can try and get away with on each turn.
Yep, so Scott Mitchell trying to get his way past Phil Morby for position. And that is for 13th. Nice move by the Kings Racing Mercedes driver there in the A45, number 22. But Morby, again, coming back on the offensive. Going towards the outside of the next corner. That's through Taylor's. Oh, they barged door panels there. Yep. But Scott Mitchell manages to get through. Oh, bit of a tank slapper there for Phil Morby. Coming out of Taylor's, but he still keeps it. That could have opened the door for both. I think that was Aidan Millward and Sylvain Vessier. As now Mitchell gets towards the inside for Duffer's Dip. As sideways going through Duffer's Dip and into Leslie's goes Phil Morby. He was doing a Ross McGregor interpretation, but the funny thing was he's got rear wheel drive. McGregor's got front wheel drive in that Focus. We're now around about the halfway points of this second race. And this is a great battle. This is for 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th with Sylvain Vessier, who scored a point in the last race at Croft, as now Aidan Millward is putting on his headlights to say, hello guys, don't forget about little old me. And they are ablaze. Sylvain Vessier keeping his headlights well and truly switched off, just letting his racing do the talking as he looked towards the inside ever so briefly with Millward going and
definitely catching the curve.
That was definitely catching the curve and going sideways whilst keeping it pinned as Morby this is Matt Webb, who's switched to the Subaru Levorg, and he's chasing down Karan Chandok, and this is the battle for 11th position. So I'm just going to have a quick look on what tyre Chandok has got. No, he used the options last time out as Jean-Michel Loriot in 22nd position. Quelle bonne surprise penalty yet again. That's a real shame because Loriot, we've seen earlier on in the season, he's had some opportunities when he joined us at Croft and was definitely in the thick of the action. But Matt Webb trying to keep pace with Karan Chandok. So at the moment, we're now on to lap number 14 out of 24. Toby Davis leads by just around about 0.3 of a second from Ross McGregor. Chris Butcher rounds out the top three. Mike Bell, Scott Sovic, Matt Richards, Ben Willis, Dan Kell, Mike Cooper and Daniel Slattery round out the top 10 positions as we get this fantastic onboard from the left front corner as that was Dan Kell up the inside of Ben Willis in the Drake Racing 85 Subaru Levorg GT, as you could just see how hard Davis and Butcher are pushing to try and catch Toby Davis. And I think there was a little bit of a snigger from Mr. Kinch, I suppose.
No, this is in humble adulation of these guys. They are pushing to the limit every piece of track they can physically get away with using without hitting track limits. They are running as wide as they can get away with on the curbs, onto the grass street. It's brilliant. I'm this is more laughter of awe. I am absolutely awestruck at how brilliant they're trying. And again, from this angle, it just looks even more impressive. Davis now, he's near enough held off McGregor and Butcher for a lap, but it's also allowed Mike Bell to close up as well. Mike Bell's not far off this trio for the lead. So again, maximum ballast on board, and Davis, and on the option tyre, he's doing a fantastic job just staying ahead, keeping it calm, keeping it focused, running his race despite soaking up the pressure from both McGregor and Butcher. It's brilliant.
Well, in the meantime, we've got a third DNF in this race. The 88 Cadan Casual Apex MG6 GT of Jean-Michel Loriot has now parked the car, unfortunately. So we're down to 21 competitors, but Sylvain Vessier has now made it up into the top 15 as a result of a possible mistake from Phil Morby. And here is Karun Chandok still battling away in the number 59 King's Dealer Racing Team Mercedes, ahead of Matt Webb from Team SimplyRace.co.uk in the 444 Subaru Levorg. Webb goes towards the outside through into the approaching Taylors. Oh, now I'm not too sure what happened there. I think Karun Chandok was just trying to sort of say to him, you're not going to come through, but I didn't see any sort of turn to the left from Karun Chandok. If there is a replay, I'm sure we'll catch it.
Yeah.
But Ross McGregor again, sideways through the second chicane after Butcher's, just completely launching that car. He's doing a fantastic job keeping it in second. But look at it from this perspective. All three drivers are on the option tyres here, Phil.
Yeah.
They are running constantly on pace, but Toby Davis is the one that's leading as Karun Chandok now gets a penalty for his troubles.
Off to the penalty box, please, Mr. Chandok. Thank you very much. As you say, all three of them on the option tyre, pushing hard,
right,
as we can see from the outside view. So
yeah, he just closes the door, and Matt Webb's trying to turn right.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
That's how I look. No, it doesn't really work on that side. But look at Butcher now. Because now McGregor has dropped, as Graham Slattery now gets a penalty, as Toby Davis, the front end looks like it's a drag car on a strip at, Santapod in Birmingham, let alone going over the bumps here in Knockhill. But he's doing a fantastic job. The gap between him and McGregor now up to just over a second. Butcher looking to try and capitalise, going through into Taylor's, not on this lap. He does not have that chance. So the number 65 of Chris Butcher, who's still, by my approximation, is still leading the championship. It's been a difficult day for Dan Kell, who's currently in 7th place, as Sylvain Vessier, having now made the switch from Subaru to BMW, now battling. He's in 14th place. He's trying to go for 13th, as he's got the option 13 Sim Sport number 67 of Aidan Millward just up ahead. With Millward still, he's got the headlights ablaze on the front of that 67 BMW 125i M Sport as they go through Duffer's Dip, through into Leslie's, through into McIntyre's, both catching curb on the exit of McIntyre's, through into Butcher's, now through into the chicane before they go down Brabham, and let's see how much air they catch. Oh, sideways. Oh, tank slapper there from Millward. Vessier looking towards the inside, nearly got through. He's going to get through this time. That's a brilliant move through into Clark there by Sylvain Vessier, completely sideways, completely committed. Brilliant job there from Sylvain Vessier, now up into 13th place.
Fantastic stuff there. Like I say, he capitalised on the small mistake coming out of the chicane, and that's all it takes. You take the run on the inside, take plenty of curb going into Clark, and he's through. It's a cracking move there from the BMW driver. As we're watching, where are we? We've got Chris Butcher, who's again closing on Ross McGregor. These two seem to ebb and flow over the lap. Butcher seems to be closer over the last half of the lap to McGregor, and it's just allowing Davis to eke out a small gap in front of around about 7/10 of a second. Slightly, it's up to 9/10 now as they take the run over the start-finish line. But Butcher's able to push at pressure McGregor better over the second part of the lap. If he can just stay with him and put something together in the first half, he could maybe line up for a run out of the chicane on the run to Clark's, or see if he can try and trick a move on the hairpin, although McGregor is not unaverse to be able to defend and hold his position there. So again, a move into the hairpin could be a difficult preposition as well.
Well, Karun Chandok has unfortunately retired as well. A point score in the first race, a DNF in the second. So we'll have to see how Karun Chandok responds in race number 3. So Slattery looks to have pitted as well. Andy Tucker has started the ice cream jocularity with regards to Max Spooner once again. He said, I'm guessing the ice cream van just pulled up and Max Spooner decided he wanted a 99 with a flake. Well, Andy, you're going to have to ask Max yourself that one, I'm afraid.
In the meantime, it's great to see Ed Straw going. Started from the pit lane for this race, and he's made his way up to 16th position. So he's really doing well in the Second Kings dealer racing Mercedes, especially after quite a spectacular debut, I think it can be said, last time out of Croft 2 weeks ago. And Ed is chasing down Phil Morby for 15th position, so looking for the last points paying position, whilst up front with 2 laps left to go we've got McGregor now again, ebb and flow as we've seen before, slightly closing down Toby Davis, as it looks as though they're starting to come up to lap Bradley Brocky's potentially before the end of lap 23.
Yep, so not too long to go in this race, and Toby Davis has led this from lights out, and it could be 2 for 2. And look at the Fraser tartan on that. That's brilliant. I really have to give kudos to Toby Davis for putting that in tribute to his late grandmother, who passed away 5 years ago. And he's been, because obviously she being from Scotland, he decided to pay tribute at a home round for her. And yeah, yellow in sector 2 this time. So we're getting fast approaching towards the end of this second of 3 24-lap races, and Chris Butcher, I think, has extended his gap over Dan Kell. I think Matt Richards is going to factor into the title fight this hill, because obviously Sam Fowler was not with us at Croft, neither was Matt Richards is in 4th coming into this round, so he's going to have an opportunity of being in the top 3. So we now go on to the 24th and final lap of the race. Toby Davis has a lead of over 0.7 of a second from the forever charging Ross McGregor in second place. Chris Butcher looks to make it 2 top 3s in a row, a 3rd place for race 1, a 3rd place for race 2, as Sylvain Vessier, I've just noticed, is closing on Scott Mitchell. No, he's actually got him past him.
Duffus.
Oh, and is that Vessier that's been spun around?
Trying to turn in onto Mitchell on the inside of Duffus, and he wasn't completely alongside, and that sent him off onto the right hand side as you see Toby Davis cross the line for win number 2 of the evening.
Well done, Toby Davis, winning race 2 here at Knockhill, round 8 of the 2020 season. Let's have a look at the replay. Okay, now this is where Vessier gets a good run of momentum. He's gone towards the outside. And this is where they're going to go through into Duffus Dip. So Vessier actually was... he goes sideways. He's gone sideways. He's gone full chat, full commitment. Bravo for him for trying to do that. But McGregor takes 2nd. Chris Butcher takes 3rd. Mike Bell and Matt Richards. Andy Tucker, stop it with your ice cream jokes. He's gone Silvat obviously wanted an ice cream too. That's going to be a post-race discussion between the E-Team Brit guys. But let's have a look at the results. Toby Davis takes the win. Ross McGregor in 2nd. Chris Butcher rounds out the top 3. Mike Bell in 4th, ahead of Matt Richards, who made it up to 5th place at the end of the race. Scott Sovic is looking pretty good with regards to Smile Power Racing at the moment, because all 3 cars were in the top 6 in that race. Dan Kell in 7th. Mike Cooper, Ben Willis and Daniel Slattery round out the top 10 positions, ahead of Scott Mitchell. Aidan Millward in 12th. Matt Webb, Sylvain Vessier takes another couple of points for E-Team Brit 2 in 14th, ahead of Phil Morby. Ed Straw completes the top 16 ahead of Chaz Draker. Sandro Ballesteros in 18th. Graham Slattery in 19th. Bradley Brocky's in 20th position, with retirements on lap 16 from Karun Chandok, lap 9 from Jean-Michel Loriot, with Max Spooner and Jack Nichols retiring on the very first lap of the race, with Nichols actually having a technical disconnect as we hit the start. Well, race 2 down, 1 more race to go.
Breathe. breathe. Let's take this moment to enjoy the slight piece of quiet. That was another cracking race. That really was, with a little bit more contact this time, and people pushing around a little bit more, obviously in the opening laps. And I think that spread the field out a little as well. So that's slightly different from race one. But again, you know, the fight at the front, not just this time with Toby Davis and Ross McGregor, but also Chris Butcher finding his way into that fight as well, and having three pushing as they were, trying to find the weaknesses from each car, from each driver in front where they could. And as I was saying before, it's very clear that Butcher was able to go quicker in the second part of the lap to close up to McGregor, but he just wasn't able to get close enough to try and make a move stick. Very clean racing from the front three guys, a lot of respect there, and it was clear as pushing as hard as they were, especially from the onboards, which was brilliant to see. Very clear they were pushing hard, but also respecting each other. So if a move was going to be made, it was going to be made as cleanly as possible, and they just weren't able to get close enough to try and make the pass.
Yeah, so not too long until we get our third and final race of round 8 of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Series, being held here at Knockhill in Scotland. We'll be back in just a moment's time. Welcome back ahead of the third and final race here at Knockhill Circuit in Scotland for the 8th round of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. We've had over 50 and a half miles worth of racing action over the past hour or so, and we're about to do it all again for our third 24-lap race. Phil Kinch, once again by my side here in the virtual commentary box. Phil, race 3, again, another different proposition. We've seen this all the way through the season so far, that you just don't know what's going to happen. And I think in just a few moments' time, we'll find out pretty much front line and centre.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to be a case of it's the last race of the evening, so it's elbows out, door panels loose, mirrors ready to go. No, normally race 3 has more action than the first 2 races of the evening, and from what I've seen this evening, again, I daren't even try and predict who is going to get through Duffer Stip first, and who is going to be able to survive any attempts on passing on the at least the first couple of laps as the field tries and spreads itself out and asserts themselves in various positions. I'm just really looking forward to it. We've had 2 cracking races so far this evening, absolutely thrilling races, lots of action, lots of careful driving, lots of hard driving and very close racing. And I'm just looking forward to some more in the final race of the evening. Really looking forward to this.
Yeah, so the warm-up very much underway here at Knockhill for the final time. So we'll just see what happens with regards to the third and final race. For those wondering, don't forget you can use the hashtags TCUK and VMO to keep yourselves up to date with what is happening with everything in this championship. And myself and Phil will take you through right until the end of this season. So after this, 2 more action-packed races, rounds still to go. And for one of them, I will be commentating overseas for. So I won't be. I will be elsewhere. But at least in some respects, I will still be there in vocal capacity, my friend.
I'm happy with that. Because to be honest, it's good fun when you're about, Alex, and enjoy the banter. I'll just try and get used to the fact you're not in the same commentary box as me as normal. I can cope with that. It's fine. You're allowed to go overseas if you want to. I'm not going to get upset at all.
Yeah. So it looks like, well, we do have a top 8 reverse grid for the third and final race here at Knockhill. Looks like it's going to be Mike Cooper and Dan Kell on the front row in the 44 Vauxhall Astra and the 89 Ford Focus. So let's take you through the third and final formation lap and also the grid order for this evening's activities. So Mike Cooper will start on pole position in the 44 Davis Racing Astra. The 89 Sancho SimSport Focus of Dan Kell will be alongside on the front row. Then it's another Astra and Focus combination. This time it's Smile Power Racing's number 55 of Scott Sovic and number 4 of Sancho SimSport's Matt Richards. Mike Bell and Chris Butcher make it an all Smile Power Racing row 3, ahead of Ross McGregor and Toby Davies, who complete the top 8. Then you've got Ben Willis and Daniel Slattery, ahead of Scott Mitchell, Andrew Millward, Matt Webb and Sylvain Vessier, with Phil Morby rounding out the top 15. Ed Straw in 16th, ahead of Chaz Draycott, Sandro Ballesteros, Graham Slattery, Bradley Brockies, Karun Chandok, Jean-Michel Loriot, Max Spooner, and last but by certainly no means least, Jack Nichols in the 29 Kings Racing. As Luke Hinsel says, anyone want anything from the shop? Now's not a great time to say that, especially if someone wants a Cornetto.
Bad time.
That's just a play on Andy Tucker's banter at the moment, talking about saying people want an ice cream. Well, they can have one after the race if they so want it, if it's warm enough, Andy.
Definitely.
And Luke. And that's if the shops aren't closed by now. So the drivers now get themselves into position. Matt Richards, one of the multiple drivers on the option tyres, as is Mike Cooper. So we wait for things to get well and truly underway here for the third and final race here at Knockhill in Scotland. So let's see what happens. Who's going to get the... So Jack the Supercar Kid wishes good luck to Sandro Ballesteros. As lights out, we're off and running for one final time, heading into Duffer Stip for the first of 24 exciting laps here in race 3. As Richards closing on the back bumper of Cooper going into Leslie's and McIntyre, and you can just see there is there's quite a few other drivers. Toby Davis has got an absolutely brilliant start, but in the background Mike Bell gets turned around and it sends cars going left and right in avoidance. Yellows in sector 1. Oh, Mike Bell got turned around there. Graham Slattery has now just been handed a penalty from race control as they fight their way through. But Toby Davis, oh, you know what? If he becomes the first ever 3-time race winner in this season, I will be massively impressed. But Ross McGregor might have something to say about that. I'm not commenting on what Andy Tucker's just said. Come on, stop it with the ice cream jocularity, please, Mr. Tucker. That's got to be a restart. Well, that's dependent on race control.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's a bit sideways there
from Chris Butcher.
Yeah, but also a little bit further down the order, I think Jack Nichols is trying to get past Chaz Draycott. So one commentator trying to get past another. Chaz Draycott recently commentated at Fun Cup earlier last weekend. Yeah, and there is Chaz Draycott as Jack Nichols tries to go up the inside. Oh, there's a roll from one of the Slatterys, and that is Graham Slattery.
Yep.
Oh, that's another big roll. We've had Loriot, we've had Graham Slattery, and we've had Scott Mitchell all come a cropper on that. As up the inside a little bit further back, I think that's 3. Well, hang on a second. I count all 4 of the E-Team Brit and Now, Chaz Draycott has decided to put the old headlights on to see if he can distract Jack Nichols. I don't think that trick's going to work, Sunshine.
Be interesting to find out.
Hang on. That was Cooper. Yeah, Cooper way off of the order. Excuse me, I'm not too sure if there was contact between him and Kell earlier on in the race, but that has changed the complete dynamic of it, as it looks like one of the that was Max Spooner also going Knight Rider style up there. Sandro Ballesteros looks like he's lost his engine. Yeah, that bumper's gone and the front the engine's gone. Daniel Slattery, Jean-Michel Loriot, Sylvain Vessier has dropped down the order to 23rd. Mike Cooper, I don't think has got out of Sector 3 just yet, but we're on to lap number 5 out of 24. And this is where it's all going to change, because Dan Kell... Now, if I'm honest here, I'm looking at the times. Now, let's have a look at this replay. Now, this is where it probably all happened. So there's... Now, that is just behind Aidan Millward, and that would have been Jack Nichols.
And that's Bell going sideways on the right.
Oh, look to the left. Look to the left. That was McGregor, and that was Mike Bell. Oh, and he goes straight into the front of Aidan Millward. Nichols avoids, and then...
straw into the side of one of the ET Brit cars.
Yeah, I think that might have been Sylvain Vessier that he's just gone into the side of, and then this is where it really kicks off.
Everyone's scattered left, right, and centre.
Oh, that was like an accident not wanting to happen on the M25. Believe you me. Wow, that is the biggest incident I think we've ever had in an initial sort of few laps here on the Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. Whoa.
That was quite large, although to be honest, it is good to see that out of that accident, we've still got virtually everyone running. Graham Slattery seems to be the only DNF from the race so far. So Ed Straw running in 22nd ahead of Sylvain Vessier. Also a shout to Kuru Chandok from the back of the grid in race 2, at the end of race 2 from retirement, up to 11th place. I think someone's been hiding his touring car credentials here. You know, I'm sort of wondering if there's a tin top future in Karun's future himself.
What, you mean following the footsteps of Nigel Mansell, drive a famous Williams, and then go into tin tops?
I'm liking the sound of this.
Well, you never know, anything's possible. But he is a busy man. He's a dad now. He does a lot of work with Sky Sports F1 as one of their regular pundits. But one of the things I love about Karun is his love of history within motorsport, especially Formula 1. And to have the job, driving all the historic cars at Williams is one of those things that I think every every racing driver would love to have that opportunity, but to have someone like Karun doing that.
Sorry, face full of Astra. Sorry. From Toby Davis, this is coming from Leslie.
Face full of Astra tailgate. I won't. Now there is a E-Team Brit car stuck on the parapet on the left-hand side. There's Max Spooner.
I think it's. Is it Sylvain Bessier? No, he's running down in 23rd and showing he's not moving.
Well, I'll just have a look on the track map as Toby Davis again trying to get one up on that. You were spot on there, Sylvain Vessier. That car is going absolutely nowhere.
No.
I wondered what happened there, and he's pulled it into the pits, and that's DNF the car. So down to 22 drivers being rounded out by Ed Straw. And just keeping now. Look at Jack Nicholls. He's also made some headway in this race.
Yeah.
Remember, he did, and he started from the back part of the grid. He's now up to 13th as Matt Richards trying to catch Chris Butcher and Scott Sovic. Dan Kell leads by about 2.8 seconds. So
and again, Butcher's there on the podium positions as well. In fact, going for second place. So are we going to start seeing some gamesmanship here as the title race starts to come into fold? In fact, it looks as though Sovic's let him through. It looks a very clean pass, but it's also letting Richards coming alongside Sovic as they're coming up the start-finish straight. And behind, you've got Ross McGregor, Scott Mitchell and Toby Davis all running side by side.
Oh, Richards trying to go up the inside there through on the inside of Sovic. Managed to get past through Duffer's dip. And
side by side still.
He got through. He got through. That was close. Very, very close indeed. Now that was Scott Mitchell off. So Toby Davis now up into 5th place. But look, Scott Mitchell still kept it pinned, and he's still behind Ross McGregor. As now he's trying to go up the inside of the 888. Oh, Mitchell definitely getting 2 wheels up in the air. Manages to get his elbows out, bashes door panels with McGregor. Oh, I think McGregor got a little bit of a wake-up call there. As now they go into Taylor's. Mitchell trying to go back up the inside of the 888. The Focus trying to close the door. Oh, it's going to be a run out of the final turn as again Jean-Michel Loriot, again for the 3rd race in a row, gets at least 1 penalty. And he's actually having his best effort so far. He's up into 14th place as now Ross McGregor going into Duffer's Dip, through into Leslie's, through into McIntyre, still keeps ahead of Scott Mitchell. Oh, this is just absolutely imploded in that sort of battle there. Karun Chandok now hits the top 10, and he's only 1.5 seconds behind Mike Bell as Chris Butcher now up into 2nd position. And he's got Matt Richards closing on his back bumper, and Richards looking to move a bit further forwards within the top 3. Well, he is actually effectively in the top 3 because it looks like that Sam Fowler not taking any further part in this championship. So Butcher has got Richards going towards the outside. They've just come through Taylor's. If Richards keeps it pinned through Duffer's dip and he gets it through, he's going to get it. Oh, 2 wheels from Butcher. 2 wheels from Butcher through Leslie's and through into McIntyre. As McGregor goes wide, Mitchell keeps it pinned on the chicane and he gets past the 888 for 6th position. Wow.
That is wow. There's no other way to put it. That is just great racing from these guys in the last race of the evening. That's fantastic stuff.
Oh my goodness me. So Richards now ahead of Butcher. Look at Scott Sovic. He's not that far behind, is he? Ross McGregor still trying to hunt down Scott Mitchell, who has a little bit of a right front lock up there. So we are pretty much halfway through the race as Karun Chandok still rounds out the top 10. A great run from him. You know, he's looking to have 2 points finishes in his first 3 races in this championship. So good to have Karun on board with us this evening and hopefully for the rest of the season. So Kell leads, Richards 2nd, Butcher in 3rd, Sovic, Davis, Scott Mitchell, Ross McGregor, Ben Willis, Mike Bell and Karun Chandok rounding out the top 10. Go on board. That was 2 wheels up in the air on the right-hand side of Scott Sovic. They are not holding back at this circuit whatsoever. Fastest lap of the race is from Matt Richards as we go on board the rear view cam of Chris Butcher in the number 65, who is effectively the de facto championship leader. And he'll go into the penultimate race evening in just a couple of weeks' time when we head to Silverstone for 3 16-lap races, and it will be Silverstone International. So that's going to be even more interesting. So from Karun Chandok, we've got Aidan Millward in 11th, Bill Morby, Jean-Michel Loriot, Mike Cooper, Matt Webb, Jack Nichols has recovered to 16th ahead of Daniel Slattery, Sandro Ballesteros, Chaz Draycott, Max Spooner, Bradley Brockies and Ed Straw, rounding out the 22 that are still circulating, as looks like Straw got out of the way there of Ben Willis, who is being chased down by the recovering Mike Bell. But look, not too far behind is Karun Chandok in the number... sorry, I'm trying to get my words out right now here. I'm trying to breathe now.
Your turn.
No. penalty for Jack Nichols now. So Karun Chandok in the 59 Kings Dealer Racing. Okay, let's have a look at this replay. This is Phil Morby. Oh, what's going to happen with the Subaru today? Oh!
Ouch.
Turns it around, and that is going through. He managed to keep it composed through Duffer's Dip, through into Leslie's. As soon as he hit McIntyre's, the back end went, oh no, you don't. And Ed Straw has now DNF'd as well. So we're down to 20 drivers being rounded out by Bradley Brockies. So I'm just keeping an eye. Well, I think I'm just keeping an eye on Glenn Freeman from the race's Twitter account at the moment. And a minute ago, Scott Mitchell battling for 6th, Karun Chandok top 10, and Jack Nichols announces, "I've just rolled." Have you rolled it, or have you kept it on 2 wheels? Is my biggest question, Jack. As now we have Chaz Draycott and Sandro Ballesteros, Son's front bumper. No engine on that thing. Well, that's what it looks like. There's basically a big gaping hole where a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine would be. But Chaz Draycott, in his return to racing, has Sandro Ballesteros trying to go up the inside through Duffer's Dip as Draycott goes wide, still manages to keep it pinned, and then Ballesteros goes a bit sideways through Leslie's. As we've got a yellow in sector 1. Oh, now that is Jack Nichols.
Yeah, it looks like he's parked up. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's DNF'd. I think he's just DNF'd.
That's a shame after the progress he was making from the back of the field, unfortunately. But he's, I think Knockhill's been slightly one to forget this time after the high of Croft 2 weeks ago. So hopefully he can come back in fighting form for Silverstone as Chaz Draycott's holding off Sandro Ballesteros. And I'm just going with Flintstone power. That's the only way I can describe that BMW. I can just imagine some feet pedalling away just as quick as they can as he's keeping up with the Ford Focus. And they're side by side on the run now to Duffer's Dip. This is going to be interesting stuff. Draycott on the inside, Ballesteros on 2 wheels from Draycott as they come through Leslie's. And Ballesteros completely on the inside, face full of Focus again. Astra Focus BMW, pick a car. But Draycott just about managed to stay ahead as they come through the chicane.
Yeah, and Draycott gets a bit of understeer as the car launches itself over the. I mean, it's basically like Knockhill has got 2 miniature versions of what the Nordschleifer has in terms of Flugplatz. Literally all 4 wheels go up into the air and you've got to try and control it. So Chaz Draycott now is in the final points-paying position as Scott Mitchell trying to close in on Scott Sovic and Toby Davis, who's looking to go up the inside of the 55 through Taylor's. Does he make the move? Yes, nice and cleanly done. But Sovic will now have the run going through from Taylor's down the straightaway towards Duffer's Dip.
I must admit, I am slightly curious now, seeing how all the 2-wheel action we're getting, which you expect at Knockhill from these guys, and the 4-wheel commitment going through the chicane as Davis goes sideways through Duffer's Dip. I am really wondering what these guys would be like on the Nürburgring, but that's a thought and discussion for another day.
And I'm sure that some people might go, no.
I don't know, plenty of 4-wheel action, but we'll see.
Just as we say that, Sovic gets passed up the inside by Scott Mitchell. So Mitchell now up into 5th place. Another good performance for the number 22 from Kings Racing. Karun Chandok starting to close on Mike Bell, I've just spotted. He's about just under 3/10 off of the number 5. We'll make that under 2/10. So Karun Chandok really getting the bit between his teeth as the former Formula One driver now trying to close up, but Bell starts to pull away again from the Mercedes. Gap between them about half a second as they now go hurtling their way through Dufferstep, through Leslie's, through McIntyre. And you can just see how hard they're working. The brake discs glowing quite significantly on the front axles of every single one of these cars. Just still full commitment from every single driver. Yellow in Sector 3. That's rather interesting. Now, what has happened there, I'm wondering. I'm sure that we might find out in due course. But Scott Mitchell has started to drop Scott Sovic. The gap between them, 1.1 seconds.
Really getting to the business end. Oh, we've got the replay here.
Oh,
so
it's Matt Webb. Webb. Oh, he just powers out of Taylor's. Gets on the curb, and that sends him nearly going backwards through going the other way through blooming Taylor's there. I don't know. That's. I hope. I wonder if he just thought there were a few expletives and went. That wasn't quite part of the plan. As here comes Karan Chandok. Oh, trying to go for 9th place. Goes towards the outside. Is trying to get the cutback going into Taylor's to get the run on Bell coming out of the final corner.
Caught plenty of curb on the inside.
Yeah, Chandok giving us something to talk about here. Good to have him with us as well. And he's now going to go into Dufferstep. Let's see how committed both Mike Bell and Karun Chandok go through this complex of corners. Absolutely pinned on the pair of them.
Yep.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely fantastic. And look, guess what tyres Karun has got? He's got the options on, hasn't he?
It looks like, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep a quick eye on the tyre choices because, Chandok's got an absolutely brilliant amount of pace here at the moment. So let's just have a look. Karan Chandok, no, is on the prime. So he used the option tyre in the first one.
Yes.
So Bandok is, he's going to try and steamroll up the inside of Mike Bell. Through Taylor's, does the 59 get through? It's side by side on the exit of the corner. The pair rub door panels. And both of them are keeping their foot stuck in. Well and truly, but Karan Chandok gets a little bit of a bonnet nose ahead. Going into Dufferstep, and he gets through, but Bella's not going to give up. Not going to give up. The pair line is turned through Dufferstep, Leslie's through into McIntyre, now through Butchers and into the chicane. Over the chicane bump they come, both fully committed. Oh, little bit of a wider line taken by Karun Chandok, but he keeps the momentum. Flames spitting from the exhaust as they go through Clark, now into the railway straight, which takes you through Hislops. All the way down towards Taylor's. But at the moment, the gap between the two leaders now down to 1.8 seconds as this time Bell tries to do the same to Chandok, what Chandok did to him on the previous lap. And Chandok went, I've got through, buddy. You're not getting past.
No,
Scott Mitchell.
fantastic work there. Fantastic
Scott
work.
Mitchell. Now look at this battle here between Scott Mitchell in 5th and Toby Davis. This is for 4th place. They've got one of the E-Team Brit cars ahead. Max Spooner is DNF'd. Matt Webber's DNF'd. Bill Morby's DNF'd. So we're down to 16 cars. This last race here at Knockhill has definitely provided a lot of attrition. And that's Sandro Ballesteros, because I noticed the front bumper and engine missing on that car. I could see that a country mile off the number 19 of Sandro Ballesteros, the youngest driver on the grid. But very shortly, we are going to go on to the final lap of this race and of the evening here at Knockhill. As Scott Mitchell doing everything in his power to keep with Toby Davis, and the gap between them is closing quite substantially here as they're going to go through into Taylor's. As, Ballesteros nearly compromises Davis through Taylor's there. We now go on to the 24th and final lap of the race. Kel from Sancho Simsport still leads by about 1.8 seconds. As now Mitchell trying to go up the inside through Dufferstep on Toby Davis, but the 34 will not let him pass. Through into Butchers, now into the chicane. They go up and over the crest. Skywards with all 4 wheels, both of them keeping the throttle pinned. It's like as Sandro Ballesteros gets a penalty, I think that's for track limits infringement there. That was a definitive track cut. And the system software will put you in the pits if you've cut the track excessively. As now this could be a chance if he gets the switch back. Mitchell to the outside, Davis to the inside. Through Taylor's for the final time. But Dan Kell from Sancho Simsport's going to lead a Sancho Simsport 1-2. courtesy of Matt Richards. Chris Butcher takes a third successive third place. Toby Davis beats Scott Mitchell to the line by just over a tenth of a second. Scott Sovic in sixth. As we have Ross McGregor in seventh, Ben Willis from Drake Racing in eighth. Karun Chandok takes another top 10 finish, and with it, more points in the bag for the number 59 from King's Dealer Racing. Mike Bell rounds out the top 10 ahead of Aidan Millward, Mike Cooper, Daniel Slattery, Chaz Draycott takes some points this evening, with Sandro Ballesteros, missing bumper and engine and all, takes the final spot, the final set of points here in race 3. But what a drive from Dan Kell and Matt Richards again. You know, he was very, very... We didn't really talk about him much in this race, did we, Phil? But he managed to climb up through the order and get to make it Sancho Simsport 1-2. Great job by those guys there.
Yeah, they've managed to do a cracking job, and we've seen them do it before, working by the game of numbers as we've seen in previous events. And Dan Keller's also a really, really good starter off the line, and he got a great start off the line and beat Mike Cooper into Duffus. And once he was able to stay ahead, and also Matt Richards to get ahead, they've done what we expected of them. Sancho Simsport are just, you know, a cracking team. The both drivers, as well as Lewis McGlade we've seen previously, just do a great job working by the numbers, working together. And in this case, they've pulled off a 1-2, whereas in the previous 2 races we've actually seen Smile Power Racing be the more dominant side, with all 3 of the Astras running together as well. So yeah, cracking stuff from Keller and Richards, and again also from Toby Davis. I think Toby actually should keep the tartan livery on top of the roof for the rest of the season. It almost is like a good luck charm that's helped him out a lot better than in previous rounds. I think he's had his best round to date so far.
Yeah, so 2 wins and a 4th here at Knockhill. So looking at the rest of the outside of the top 10, Aidan Millward, Mike Cooper, Daniel Slattery, Chaz Draycott, Sandro Ballesteros and Bradley Brockies were the 16 classified finishers. Max Spooner retired on lap 18. Matt Webb on 19 for Max Spooner, 18 for both Matt Webb and Phil Morby. Jack Nichols on lap 14 after having rolled it. Ed Straw on lap 11. Sylvain Vessier, lap 5. Jean-Michel Loriot didn't even make the start. And Graham Slattery on lap number 2. But one heck of an evening here at the Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. Round 8 completed. 2 weeks' time on the 29th of September. We head to our penultimate round of the season, Silverstone International. And then 13th of October, we come to the season finale, where we will head to the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit on the 13th of October. But with that being said, Phil, I'll join you in just a few minutes' time, as I'm going to go and speak to our drivers down in the interview booth.
Okay.
So we do always speak to some of the drivers post race 3 due to the turnaround, and obviously making sure that we keep things on a tight schedule here. But firstly, Dan Kell, congratulations, race 3 winner, bringing home a Sancho Simsport 1-2. It was a bit of a difficult sort of couple of first races for you. I know that you were in, you were trying your best to battle with those at the sharp end of the grid, but sometimes it just didn't work out, did it?
Yeah, it wasn't too great the first 2 races, but it all came together in the third. Massive well done to Matt as well for getting the P2, because I know you had to work a little bit for that in race 3. But yeah, I'm well chuffed with the win.
And obviously, both myself and Phil commented on the fact that Knockhill has a lot of unique characteristics, let's say, where all of you going through, like say Duffer's Dip, through into Leslie's, into McIntyre, and then you go through the chicane after Butchers, and you guys are like literally full throttle, off the rev limiter, 4 wheels off the ground, a bit like Flugplatz at the Nordschleife. And to see you guys keep on pinning it lap after lap, just tell us from your perspective, how much concentration do you have to have going through that chicane when you're going airborne like Knight Rider, and you have to keep it planted ready to go through into Brabham?
Yeah, it's I would say it's the toughest track on the calendar, just because of the concentration needed, and everything just comes at you so fast because it's only 49 seconds a lap, 50 seconds a lap. These cars also have a tendency to roll over the curbs, so you're also thinking about that when you're racing, not getting too close and just trying to manage the pace as well. It takes so much concentration.
Yeah, well, Dan, congratulations. Well done for the race 3 victory. and all the very best of luck for our penultimate round of the season at Silverstone International in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers. Thanks.
Next up, Matt Richards, a 1-2 for Sancho Simsport in race 3. But you also had your trials and tribulations this evening, Matt. But to be completely honest with you, this now puts, with the result this evening in race 3, but obviously making your way through race 2, it puts you within the top 3 in the championship now. It was a bit of damage limitation, wasn't it, in the first couple of races?
Yeah, I had a few technical gremlins during qualifying, had a few power supply issues, so things started to fuzz out a little bit, which meant that my my qualifying lap got cancelled, so I had to start from the pit lane. So yeah, just had to work forward and just enjoyed it really. Tough track, as Dan said, is a really tough circuit to concentrate on, but we got through it.
Well done, Matt. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at Silverstone International.
Thank you very much.
Well, good to now catch up with Chris Butcher, who came into this round as the points leader by just 7 points. But Chris, a very good set of top five finishes with 2 third places in the last 2 races. That must give you a good feeling with the motivation heading to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time, especially at such a difficult circuit.
Yeah, a brilliant result. I'm really chuffed with that. I think it was 3 top 3s actually. But race 1 was always going to be tough. Qualifying on maximum ballast and then the race on full ballast as well. Happy to make position up from the start, and in race 2, I thought I had a chance at a win, but Ross and Toby were just a bit too quick. They've absolutely smashed the laps around this place, so no surprises really. Race 3 went pretty well as well. It was always going to be tough to beat the Zanshaw cars because they had practically no weight and the quicker tyre for race 3, so it was just a case of banking the points really. Other than that, pretty uneventful. It was just more a case of keeping it on the black stuff. I think, if my maths is right, I think we might have made a small increase in the championship lead. But that's always good. Silverstone International next. That's going to be interesting, I think. That's going to be certainly a struggle in race 1 again for me, but it's the same for everyone really, I guess, now at the end of the season.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Chris, thank you very much, mate. All the very best of luck in a couple of weeks' time at Silverstone International.
Alex.
Right, next up, we'll speak with, I think we'll go to Mike Bell, if you're around, Mike. Evening, Mike. A bit of a topsy-turvy race evening for you as well, wasn't it? You were definitely in the trenches. I think you were in the wars as well, if memory serves me correctly.
That first lap was a bit of a cluster expletive in race 3, but race 1 and 2 got off the line all right. We had the advantage where, so I was just like, okay, I'll slot in behind Butchie and build a wall, and then once the wall was built, I'd set off running after them, and two good P4s, I'd say, in race 1 and 2, and then it was just one of those things, I'm on the inside of Butchie. I've got Scott, my teammate, in front of me. There's not really much I could do into turn 1. So I braked early. Butchie goes around. Toby goes around. And I think we just kissed doors as you do. But it was just at the wrong point for my car. And I had a big snap. Then McGregor comes through. And then, I was still there on the inside. And there was a car there. And then around I go. And, after doing what I would have considered a sensible thing and being a bit slapped on the wrist for it, I followed the league rules and jammed the brakes on and just prayed I would get missed. And Aidan Millward has a very hard head, and several other people got involved, and that meant a bit of a gnarly rest of the race 3 with a steering wheel halfway turned to the left all the way, and gave me a chance to actually race wheel to wheel with Karun Chandok. So, hey, little silver linings.
Yeah, behind every cloud. So, to have Cullen Chandok on the grid, I think rocking the early 1990s Williams Renault style livery on that Mercedes was definitely a treat to behold, and good that you got the opportunity to race side by side with him, virtually speaking, but also that he still, he still gave as good as everyone else got as well. So that's what you want in this kind of championship.
Oh yeah, he definitely had his sleeves rolled up. That's for sure.
That once a racer, always a racer. But Mike, really good to have you in here in the interview booth, and all the very best of luck in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep, sure thing. Thanks. See you next time.
Cheers. Right, finally, I get to chat with this young individual rocking the Fraser tartan on the top of the number 34. Vauxhall Astra, our two-time race winner this evening, Toby Davis in the 34. Buddy, that was a long time coming, but you held off Ross for 2 races. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if I'm that young anymore, but thank you so much.
Well, you're younger than me, mate. So I've got to give you something, haven't I?
Thank you, mate. Yeah, no, it's been a while. It's been about 5 years since I raced online properly. Obviously, I've been racing on track in real life, which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, it's taken me a bit of time to get up to speed. And I think I said to you in after race 3 at Croft, I finally worked out how to drive these. And I did a bit of practice for Knockhill, made sure I sort of nailed down that different driving style, and it really paid off. So I'm over the moon to get 2 wins. And as you say, this has been a round that I could do a tribute livery to my grandmother, who sadly passed away about 5 years ago. So it was good to do that, and to have it on the stream, winning 2 races was great. So I'm over the moon, really am.
Can I just Phil actually made a very, very good point here. Can you please keep that tartan livery for the rest of the season? To be honest with you, I think at the end of the day, it looks great on the car. It's very discreet, but also it adds a bit of different colour that we normally see on your Astra, which is normally blue and bright sort of pink purple on the car. So it'd be nice to have that little bit of a different So would you please do us a favour and keep that on the car for the rest of the season?
All right, I'll have a look, and I probably will. If you said that, I probably will. To be fair, thank you very much for mentioning it on the stream as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No worries at all, Toby. Thoughts going into Silverstone International in a couple of weeks? You've got 2 race wins now. You've got motivation to try and keep yourself at the sharp end of the field. But Silverstone International, it's no picnic.
No, absolutely not. It's a track I've raced on in real life in supercarts, so I do know the layout reasonably well. So hoping to go in there with the same sort of pace that I had this time. It was nice to have Mike Cooper alongside me this round as my teammate. He's brought a new fresh ideas to the team and a couple of setup tweaks and stuff. So I'm hopeful that we can continue this pace forwards. And to be honest, Silverstone International is a decent track, I think, for the Astra. So hopefully I can maybe get on the podium again. I'm not going to say I'm going to win again because I'm not that sort of person, but we'll see what happens.
All right, Toby. Thanks very much for talking to me. Have a good evening, and see you in a couple of weeks at Silverstone International.
Thanks so much. You have a good evening too, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. Right, our penultimate interviewee is from Smile Power Racing, Scott Sovic. Scott, good to see you fighting at the sharp end of the field here at Knockhill. Just tell us from your perspective about some of the battles that you had throughout the 3 races this evening.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me, first of all. Yeah, as you said, I was actually more at the sharp end this time around, which was nice, especially considering Knockhill is as much of a home race as I'm going to get with being half Scottish. So it's the battles. I was having to push so hard now that I really can't remember a lot of it, but in race 3 because of the option tyre being of a harder compound than the prime. So, but I was having some very good battles with Scott Mitchell and Jack Nichols of Kings Racing, and they were, I was really enjoying getting to go a bit bumper to bumper with them. It was just enough contact to not warrant anything, so it was really nice. It was really quite intense battling here, especially in race 3, because I was fighting with Zancho boys as well as Mike Cooper at the front there for the first couple of laps, and I was properly pushing, trying to keep keep in touch of Dan Kell after the two in front of me had an incident, but today I don't think it was what it was going to be. I would have really liked the podium, but just wasn't to be today, I don't think.
You think there's a possibility of that happening at Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time? Because I think there might be. I mean, if the Astras look good round Knockhill, the Astra can sometimes also look very good round Silverstone. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like I'm getting back into the rhythm I had before taking that two race break. So I think, I would think the Astros have got a decent chance at Silverstone International. Hopefully I can break the duck and actually get on the podium, since I've gone the entire season so far without being on the rostrum so far. But we'll just have to see. I mean, I feel relatively confident that I'd be able to get a good flow around there and actually bring a bit more pace than I did relative to the front here.
Okay, well, Scott, thank you very much for your time. Well done this evening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks at Silverstone International.
All right, thanks very much.
Last but by certainly no means least, I'm so glad this guy finally decided to join us. Chaz Draycott in the number 10 R&Co Motorsport Ford Focus joins me. Chaz, after 6 months, how does it feel being back behind the wheel in sim racing, buddy? Well and truly.
Hate it. That was hard work. That was really, really good fun, to be fair. My right wrist, after using my shifter with my left hand, my right wrist is in pieces at the moment. But it was worth it, you know. It was a good laugh. I've got no pace compared to these boys. I used to think after the SRTC UK event I was quick in these, but no, not a chance. I mean, Nichols, flipping heck, battle of the commentators or what? He just rolled me as he went through. It was unbelievable. It was a shame he didn't really finish, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to get involved. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, because both you, well, when you think about it, Chaz is also a real life commentator, you know, having recently been at Silverstone, I think it was, for Fun Cup this past weekend, and you're also doing a lot of sim racing commentary as well. It must be nice to actually being able to battle with the likes of Jack Nicholls, and obviously seeing Karan Chandok on the grid for this round. Might have, and also I do remember you posting on your official Chaz Draycott Media Facebook page saying, "Oh, how was practice, Chaz?" And we got a picture of your car going skyward, and then you put, "Well, I actually knocked off 1.6 seconds in free practice before." So obviously you've managed to gather the pace, you know, and obviously you're a teammate to Ross McGregor, who, let's be honest, is a very, very fast peddler. I mean, how helpful has he been with regards to the baseline setup of your car? Because obviously he's not going to give all his tricks away.
Well, to be fair, I mean, most of the help I got last night was actually off Dan Kell and Matt Richards. We were just doing laps after laps after laps. I found that not rolling it was a quicker route round turn 1. Which caught me off guard, actually. I thought as long as you end up on your roof, it slides. There's a bit less friction. But no, it's just down to laps and learning where the limits are on this track. You've got to really push it, and you have to hit those curbs and get those rolls in just to know where the limit is and try and get the corner cuts and so on. But it's definitely a difficult track to make my debut on in the series with 45 kilos of ballast as well. That was not ideal. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one though. I need my wrist to recover with them. But yeah, I like you said, I've been doing a lot of commentary recently, so I've not really been racing. But yeah, it's nice to get behind the wheel. Yeah,
that makes two of us, mate. Because I'm off to Germany on Friday. More European karting beckons, but no, good to be able to actually commentate on you and actually have a catch up post race as well. So
yeah,
look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks, mate.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, and thank you as well. I just need to say thanks to everyone at Zanshow for helping me, because I mean, I joined a few weeks ago, didn't really do a lot with them to begin with, but you know, we've really blended in this week and we've had a really good laugh. And to be fair, they've helped me a lot with the car and just getting used to R Factor 2. I mean, I've not really raced that much. This is only my second competitive race ever on R Factor 2 because I've barely got any experience with it. Actually, it's my third, because I DNF'd a Citroen 3-hour race because I didn't know the driver change protocol in a pit stop. But yeah, it's great to be a part of it. Everyone's dead supportive. We have a good laugh, and it's a very competitive series. So I'm just hoping to get some top 10s.
Let's see if that happens at Silverstone International in a couple of weekends' time, buddy. But great job this evening. Well done.
Thanks, boys. See you soon.
Cheers, Chaz. So there we go, Phil. Quite a few interviews there. A lot of positivity there, especially from Chaz Draycott there. But 2 weeks' time, Silverstone International, the penultimate round of the season. This is where it's going to start getting interesting. You've got so many drivers that could. You've got the battle between Sancho Simsport and Smile Power Racing. You've got Chris Butcher, Dan Kell, Matt Richards now jumps into the title fray. There's so much that can happen in the next 6 races over the next 2 rounds before we crown our inaugural Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK champion on the 13th of October at Brands Hatch. What a place to have our season finale as well.
It's brilliant. There is as you say, there is so much going on at the moment, and it's just great to see. We've had another great night of racing, which I've really enjoyed. Silverstone, I think, is going to again throw up its various foibles and challenges for everyone. And yeah, it's now a case of business end. 6 races to go, points to be looked at, tactics to be played. And on top of that, we are just blessed with having such great close racing, hard racing between people with different backgrounds. Like you say, the like of Chaz Draycott joining in tonight, Jack Nichols, Ed Straw, the Kings Racing, the Kings Dealer Racing guys who are commentators or writers normally that don't do sim racing, that are getting involved into this against the actual sim racers themselves, and seeing people like Toby Davis this evening having a wonderful event, 2 wins and a top 5 finish in race 3, just going to show what a difference it can make. So I'm really looking forward to Silverstone and almost wishing it wasn't 2 weeks away, to be honest. Can we just shift it up a week and do it next week instead?
You know what? Someone's wishing time away here. I need to get the virtual saucepan out in a minute and give you a cat around the head in a moment. There we go. Well, he's just done that himself.
Yep.
But no, Phil, pleasure to have you alongside me in the virtual commentary box. As we say goodbye to Scotland and see you again soon, but we head to the home of British motorsport, Silverstone International Circuit, in just 2 weeks' time for the penultimate round of the 2020 Virtual Motorsport Online Touring Car UK Championship. On behalf of Phil Kinch and Alex Goldschmidt, thank you for watching, good night, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for watching.